Everyone's got their coffee. All right, today we're gonna talk about day trading. We're gonna start there. I know a lot of you guys wanted to do it. Again, I had a kind of like a set rotation I was gonna go through, but I figured something like this would happen because you guys want to talk about stuff you feel is not even more important, stuff you can look at right away, and maybe see a couple different things. So we're going to hop around, and hopefully cover all the most important stuff anyway. Hopefully all the important stuff we cover and go through, because I want to leave some time at the end, to review some of the stuff, to make sure we all know what the hell is going on by that time, All right, but today we're going to talk about intraday primarily. All right, sometimes I'll compare it to, the difference in flow for swing trades and stuff like that. But primarily, I want you guys to get a handle on what to look for, what to look at on an intraday basis. And I mean, for the most part, I think the majority of us in some fashion trade intraday, all right, even if it maybe swings are your bread and butter, do some intraday trading. What, for me, like intraday day trading has been kind of my flight to safety a lot of times. So in other words, when I don't like where we're at sentiment-wise, or even the flow is nothing special. Names aren't working. It's a tough environment. I don't mind trying to trade through that intraday, okay? Because intraday, I can limit my downside. And that's me because I'm using equity, right? So it's a lot easier for me to limit my downside. I could always size down. I could always place tighter stops. And, because of my experience with this stuff over the years, I don't mind taking those scratch losses, let's say. And the definition of a scratch loss to me is getting stopped out for a loss. A lot of times you just pull the plug because there's no momentum or the stock's not acting right. Sometimes you're up a little, you're down a little, you're break even. That's my definition of a scratch. And I'm not afraid of that, okay? Because I know that eventually those scratch trades even themselves out. All right, if you stick to your stop loss philosophy, or whatever that risk management philosophy is of limiting your loss intraday, okay? If you make sure you stay disciplined and stick to that no matter what, it's a numbers game, okay? Those scratch trades, you may finish up a little, down a little, maybe dead even. It's kind of luck where it ends, but for the majority of time, over the course of time, it's going to even out, okay? But what you're not seeing when you take those scratch losses or break evens, you can't see that decent winner that may be coming tomorrow or in days ahead, right? So a lot of my day trading, and now because of the steam room and everything else, the majority of stuff I do, because I can't trade as much because I'm on with you guys reading the flow, it's just impossible, right? So, I got a group where we trade together, but me, I focus primarily on individual names intraday, right? I'm not trading the indices as actively. That's what they do, and that sort of thing, okay? And my winners, all my decent sized winners, all right, and this is over the course of my career, are all, I hate to use the word luck, but I get lucky. Like we were just talking about that MOXC, whatever that symbol is, right? I didn't target that name. I didn't anticipate that name. I didn't say, oh shit, this is the name I'm gonna let run. Right? I didn't even know what the hell the name was, but because of the amount of aggressive buying that came in, I was forced to at least play it for a day trade. And it happened to be such a big mover that the stock spit out $2 almost by accident, right? And what you're going to realize is a lot of times, the big winners aren't the ones aren't the names you're chasing after. They're names that just catch aggressive activity, happen to be at a decent spot. You're quick enough, you nail it, and there's no shakeout. You're going along for the ride. So the reason why I'm explaining this to you is that I'm done. I try to put as little thought into the process as possible. Okay, when I'm day trading. For intraday stuff, for me, it comes down to, okay, is it aggressive activity? We're going to go through the steps, right? A couple questions that I ask myself on the fly quickly. And if the answers to those questions are yes, I fire. And plain and simple, if I don't see momentum coming into that name, I'm really paying attention to my exit on where I want to pull the plug. All right. So it's not a systematic stop loss. You can do it like that if you need that extra discipline. But for me, it's just following the momentum. All right. And those are the two things that you need to pay attention to for day trading or sweeper activity. Okay. Is understand the most important thing. All you're looking for is momentum now. That's it. Think of it as the most powerful real-time momentum indicator you've come across on TradingView, on Thinkorswim. And when that momentum indicator flashes a buy signal, okay, indicating that there is a high probability of, if it's call buying, upward momentum coming into the name, that's how you want to react off the action. Okay, and the reason why is you don't want to get too tied up with the actual name or the bet when you're day trading, because it's almost irrelevant, right? The name, who cares? It could be the most blue chip stock on the face of the earth, or it could be a piece of, excuse my French, dog shit. It doesn't matter. Okay, because if they're aggressively sweeping calls in that name, you have pretty decent odds that there's going to be some momentum there, right? So again, sweeper activity, momentum indicator. All right, and I promise you one thing, you've heard me say this before. You will not find another indicator on the face of the earth that when it triggers, you see instant reaction. You see the underlying, the stock react instantly. Nothing else. No other indicator on the face of the earth. All right, and that's an edge. Okay, doesn't mean it's going to go on to be a big winner, but you're getting an instant reaction when it triggers. All right, and obviously the strength of the move and how long that momentum lasts, that depends on other factors that we cannot foresee or control. Okay, and what I mean by that, if MOXN, what? how do I botch this symbol, MOXC? Every time. I mean, every time. How many sweepers do I have to see to remember the symbol, honestly? Am I that burnt out? So we don't know if after that first batch of sweeper activity, like 2 days ago when those 2 sweepers came in, we don't know if that flow is going to continue to come in, right? Obviously, the more sweeper activity if that follows after that will tell us a lot about how much further momentum there may be in the name. Okay? We do, like, with the most aggressive activity, and what I mean by aggressive activity, I'm talking about multiple bets. Okay? What you'll start to realize is off the most aggressive activity out there, a lot of times there will be other action to follow. Okay, it's not just that batch of action. There's more action coming. Not all the time, but a lot of times. All right, so that helps, determining kind of a probability of if it's going to have some decent momentum beyond this action, right? So we know if it's multiple sweeps coming in, like a band of action, the likelihood is there's going to be some more buying that comes that follows. Okay, not guaranteed, but higher odds of it. All right. Another thing that we can't factor in is the overall market. What happens if Biden falls down a flight of stairs? How are you going to see that off the first round of sweeper activity coming? Right? Trump tweets. They used to drive us nuts. There's just, no matter what, you could have the holy gospel of systems. You can't factor that in. There's no way to factor that in. All right, so you don't want to spend too much time trying to evaluate that. All right, and like I said, there are certain things to look for initially that can increase the odds that the momentum will be pretty decent. Okay, but beyond that, you really don't want to rack your brain too much and talk yourself out of certain setups and trades. Okay, especially off the right action. So I see a question. What do we got, Louis? So from the time we see an alert in the room to being able to pull up the name, I'm seeing these names have already run a decent amount. You're 100% right. Some of these names just, they're gone, right? Yeah, like you're not going to chase a stock that's up a buck already off the sweeper activity. You don't want to do that, right? So if you miss it, you miss it. And, you don't want to play that stuff anyway. You don't want to play that stuff anyway, because a lot of times when the big move happens all at once, there's a big shakeout that follows that you're not going to be able to sit through anyway. Okay? The ones you want to try to take advantage of are the names that see that band of action and, don't move that much. Or they pop and they start to flag a little bit, right? Exactly. They breathe a little bit. But the thing, Louis, too, and I'm glad you brought up that question, because that's another thing I wouldn't get too hung up on. Trust, how many I miss because they just pop too quick? Especially me now, like I said, with watching the flow in the steam room, I can't be as quick as I would, as the guys trading behind me, staring at the screen and got things fired up already, So I miss a lot of those moves that you're talking about that happen instantly. They're where you got to be an algo to catch. Like the algo sweeps, Louis, that come off news. Those big moves, I never I'm never involved in those. Never. You know? But we'll go over one today and we'll pull it up that I did catch and it was pretty nice. Right? This RKT. And this kind of was a perfect idea of what you want to try to look for, right? Okay. So if this move, like what Lewis is explaining, is if you caught, you know, if it catches action and when you're pulling it up, you like the name, you're pulling it up to get ready to play, it's already up here, right? You get one of these. So you kind of want to use a little common sense or use your judgment. You guys, the majority of you guys have experience with, you know, trading and chasing names. You know, you don't want to chase. You want to stay as far away from chasing as possible. You know, that's why I like names that aren't up as much. And again, we'll talk about this, that are down or flat. Because when they're up $3 already, the majority of them, right? When they're up $3 already, there's a breather coming at some point, sooner than later. There's a big move in it already, right? So this RKT, you can't miss it, right? So this is what I was telling you guys on Monday about the 1 minute chart. Just pull up a 1 minute chart on the action that you see these bands of sweep coming in. And I mean, can you miss where the action came in here? Honestly, okay? Here's from the open. Do you not, forget the price action. I'm not even talking about the price action. I'm not even talking about the price action. Okay? The bottom here, the purple, that's the volume. All right? And this is a name we played quite a few times. All right? This is not the first time. And I see already a few of you traded it. I know in the room, quite a few of you traded it. But this is what I mean by instant reaction. Now, as far as I know, I got 3 different squawks here. There wasn't any new headline that came out. It's just a band of sweeper activity came in, short-dated calls, short-term calls, came in here. Okay? So now, Lewis, just so you understand, right? See this? And this is what I think like Lucy's probably talking about, okay? So if you miss getting in exactly here, I don't consider this a chase, right? You're talking about what, 10 cents, 15 cents? That's peanuts. You know what I mean? That's peanuts. But you want to be in this vicinity here. Right? You want to be in that ballpark. All right? And then what happens from that point on, again, you don't want to focus on, because what happened here, more sweeper activity came, and then guess who pumped it? Ponytail on Nigerian on CNBC. You know? That's where Ponytail pumped it, right here. Right there. Were you guys in it for that? I wasn't even in it for that. Were you? I wasn't even in it for that. That was the Ponytail pump. All right, but this is the perfect example of a setup that works well. RKT has done this a few times for us. And here's the thing too, you don't want to look for this type of move on everyday trading, okay? If you do, make sure you have something in place where you're not writing this thing down hours later, hoping that this shows up at some point. Okay, if you're going to swing for the fences, that's fine. But make sure you raise a stop somewhere, even if you have to break even. And as long as you're happy with giving money back, because it's going to happen often. All right, but for me personally, I miss a lot of these. Okay, the ones I catch that end up being big winners like this are the ones that don't do this, because I'm usually getting stopped out when they go into a little breather like that. Most times. All right. But like I said, I'm being honest with you guys. There's a lot of luck involved over here. All right. And there are different ways. Everybody's got, a different way of playing these things. I know some people that, they're playing options primarily, and they want to look for big moves. They'll take scratches. They want big moves, right? So if you're going to do that, if you're going to play that type of philosophy, right? Like, let's say like a Tesla was a good example of that, okay? Tesla's been catching action for the past 3 straight days, and I've seen a lot of you in the room, kind of like disgruntled because, the stock didn't go parabolic, was up, was rallying, but wasn't anything special. If you're going to play for those home runs, you got to be willing to take scratch, and then that home run comes and pays you. Okay, but it's easier said than done, because these scratch trades, I see, not only do they frustrate people, but they give up on the whole philosophy and start doing the crazy shit they were doing back, before they started this. You know what I mean? So kind of have an idea how you're going to approach these things. There's no magic answer. If I had one, I'd share it with you guys. I still don't have one. And, I've been wondering if it exists for 20 years. But for me, the success I find is that I'm not looking to hit the home run. I'm looking for the singles. Sometimes the ball goes through the outfielder's legs and I leg out a triple. That's how I approach it. They come on their own. But that's what you got to do. And again, don't feel, if you're uncomfortable chasing a name, you feel like it's up too much, then don't play it. Right? Don't knock yourself out over it. Even if you missed a winner, it's going to happen, right? We complain about missing winners all damn day, every day. But there's no mechanical, systematic approach that is going to allow you to catch every big winner and avoid some scratch plays. That's not the edge. The edge is, your losers should be scratch trades, right? Your winners should even them out, and you're going to have some nice winners in the batch as well. And that's where you make your money. You don't know what they are ahead of time. Obviously, it'd be a lot easier if you did. Here's an example, right? So this was a good trade, right? This, and by the way, talk about scratch trades. You know how many scratch trades I took on this Smile Direct, playing it off action? Okay, because it does this all the time. But, it doesn't bother me, because maybe tomorrow I catch it at a decent spot and she goes parabolic. Right? Who knows? So that's what I mean. The scratch trades don't bother me, right? I caught a half decent winner in this. It was a couple of weeks ago when these things were hot. I actually held it an extra day of the equity and got a little more pop out of it. But so this is an example, right? You can see again, this is a 1 minute chart. You could see again where the action came in. Okay. Wasn't RKT action, but regardless, I felt like I should play it. Maybe there was going to be more buying that came in. These type of names are hot today. Had a little bit of a push, and then when no further buying came in, look, drip, 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 drip. Okay, but what did the drip, 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 drip mean? 890 to 880. You understand? Yeah, I'll take, if this is my loss, give it to me every day. No? You guys understand what I'm saying? Give it to me every day, right? And you see the difference between the RKT okay? This is what RKT looked like after that batch of action came in. Pop, little breather, TM. Pretty obvious. Okay? SDC, it was easy to come to the conclusion at some point in this drip, 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 drip that no more action was coming in. And it was time to pull the plug. Well, I mean, if you can't take losses like this, you can't play this game. If you can't take these, if you're trying to avoid taking these, you can't play this game. I'm being honest with you. You're going to get annihilated. There's no way around it. There's no way around it. You may not want to hear it. There's no way around it. There's no magic system crystal ball that you're going to catch RKTs all day long without taking these. It's actually the total opposite. You'll take these all day long, these type of losses. All day long. All day long. Yeah, but see, this is, again, what you're saying, Novrain's saying that he can't talk himself into taking small losses right away. Are you talking about day trades? What are we talking about here? Are you talking about day trades? Okay, there's got to be, okay, this is not right away. I'm saying this is 1 o'clock and this is that 1 o'clock? Yeah, 1 o'clock, and this is after 2 o'clock. If you're not seeing any momentum or tack on sweeper activity by that point, you at least have to have a stop in place. Otherwise, you're forcing every trade to be a winner. You have to. Yeah, I'm not talking about if you're up, right? You can write a stop loss, put the stop at break even. You could do a million things. I'm talking about on the downside. You can hold this thing till it turns purple in the face all the way to 4 o'clock to the ding dong. As long as you're not getting lumped up on the downside. You understand? What you're trying to avoid is writing SDC all the way down because Wish was a big winner yesterday. That's foolish. Foolish. You understand? But you see what you're saying right now? What you're telling me? Like, there right there is something you even understand it's wrong and you need to correct. And I don't care what you're trading off of, flow, sentiment, whatever it may be. If you continue to make a mistake that you know you shouldn't be doing, there's nothing out there that's going to help you. There's nothing out there that's going to help you. There are things to help you understand what you should be and shouldn't be doing. But once you recognize that and you still continue to do it, that's all you. Nobody else can fix that. Can't go to a mechanic. There's nothing you can do. You got to do that on your own. All right, but so that's the name of the game. So you see how on the fly, in simple terms, I approach it, okay? SDC, some sweeper activity comes in, okay? It wasn't even special, right? I could have easily have passed on the on SDC, okay? But I asked, can this action create some momentum right now? That's immediately what I'm asking myself, okay? The answer is yes. The other question I asked myself that we haven't spoken about yet, and this will probably help a lot of you in regards to taking losses and stop loss, because this is probably a big problem on you guys, is where the action's coming in. Okay, where the action's coming in. So when I see, if you guys remember what we've been talking about, right? Sweeper activity equals momentum. Okay? That's the main edge, okay? The other part to the edge or sweeper activity that have been pounding the table during this course for you guys to recognize are trend reversals, right? Names that have been selling that reverse or consolidating and come to life, right? So that's the edge. Because again, if sweepers equal momentum, if you can light the match to create a reversal in that trend, you obviously see the logic there, right? That's where big moves develop. All right. So I'm looking for, primarily, I'm looking for names that aren't up already. Okay. If Roku is going to catch a sweeper today, all right, and the stock already has done this and is up another 3, that's not something I'm looking to play. That's not something I'm looking to play, okay? Because that sweeper is not providing any edge for me anymore. What's the edge? Oh, there's momentum? There's momentum coming? There's been more momentum here than you could possibly imagine. Any reversal of trend happening here? This thing's been going one way, north, for a week straight. Okay? And if there is a breather, right? If this thing does run out of momentum, there's some room here. Right? There's some room here. So you better have a stop loss in. And you can get stopped out very easily a lot of times on these names. Because what happens if you get in the habit of doing that and the momentum is not as strong as it's been here like this? Stocks don't always go up in a straight line like this, right? You come in, stock's up $2-3, pulls back $2. Totally normal. So I like to find names for the majority of time. I'm not saying I never play anything that's up already, okay? Because I'd be lying. Off the open, sometimes I'll play a name that's up already when they're just demolishing everything, and you almost know everything is going to continue higher for another 10 minutes, right? You guys know what I'm talking about. They're scrambling off the open. They're buying anything with a ticker. Okay, so if a stock's up $1 and gets blitzed, I get in just to get in the middle of it, not to hold for a big winner, just to get in the middle of it, ride some momentum and clip it. Okay, that's off the open. But like in the middle of the day or in the afternoon when things die down, I want complete death. I want complete death. I'm not looking for this. I want complete death. This. Death. Right? Because why? Because I know where I'm wrong. Right? If this thing pops here and then just comes down and plays dead here, right? I know I'm wrong. There's no question. I know that sweepers came in, they created some momentum, but for whatever reason, there wasn't any additional activity or the market's reversed. That's it. My bet was wrong. Pull the plug. Okay, on a name like Roku, that moves around, goes like this. It's not as easy to know when you're wrong. That Roku does that in the most bullish trends when it's up 5 straight days in a row. All right, so like I said to you guys, it's very easy to remember that sweepers momentum, that's what you're thinking, right? And the better the setup is when there's no momentum there. There's no bullish momentum there yet. And the sweepers are creating it. Are there certain characteristics of the flow that you look at to increase the odds of generating momentum? Good question. That's another good question, Lewis. Yes, okay. The strikes obviously have something to do with it. Not in the money, out of the money, anything like that for day trading purposes. I wouldn't pay attention to that. But the month, right? So, if you see an October sweep come in, or even a couple of October sweeps come in, the likelihood is it's not going to generate as much excitement and momentum as if they were coming in bombing weeklies or front month. You may see some momentum off the buying, but how much? Chances are it's not going to be as if they were coming after weeklies or monthlies. There's not going to be that excitement. All right, so I wouldn't pay attention in regards to the actual bet, out of the money, in the money, close to the money, like we do for swing trades. I wouldn't pay too much attention to that. But the month, okay? And the key is you want it to be action that gets your attention, right? You don't want it to be one weekly sweep. And a lot of times you see me post commentary on it, right? Immediately, I'll make comments on it. How unusual it is, or a band of sweeper activities coming in here, something to that effect. You'll hear me likely vocal about it as well. All right, and you'll get used to that, looking for that specific type of act. There's no specific. That's what I'm trying to get at. There's no specific criteria outside of just paying attention to how far the bets are, how far out. That's obvious, You know, there's no specific criteria. The more, see, the thing is, Lewis, the more they hit a name, the more momentum it's going to create. That's what it comes down to. Right? The more they come in to hit a name, they get the market makers to hedge. More people are seeing the order flow after that, the more momentum is going to be there. You know, like example again, SDC, if it caught another round of action, I probably get that follow through I was looking for to sell into. But the action stopped like a clock right after I bought it. You know, right after I bought it. So, and like I said earlier, you know, it's okay to be selective, right? You don't want to play everything, but in my opinion, okay, and at least to start for day trading the names, okay, when you're day trading names, if the sweeper activity got your attention, or if you're paying attention to me, it got my attention, okay, and it's at a spot you like, you got to fire. You know, you got to fire. You know, if you don't like the spot or you don't like, you know, sentiment at the time or whatever it may be, that's a different story. Okay, that's a different story. But if you're ready to play and, you know, the action that comes into the name got your attention and you're okay with the spot, you got to fire. Because, you know, treating it with kid gloves to avoid the scratch trades, you're going to miss winners. There's no way to avoid it. There's no way to avoid it. You know, you need special discipline to avoid a lot of scratch trades, right? Because you need everything to line up with it. Right. So if you told me, if the market is also a pullback and we got bullish sentiment and they're aggressively sweeping a name into weakness, and yeah, the odds of you cashing the ticket and not catching the scratch trade obviously move to your benefit dramatically if all those things line up. But those are rare occasions, right? Rare occasions. And the thing to keep in mind are, you know, the winners will offset the losers and then some, and you're going to have some nice winners in the mix. And that's not taking into account you having to chase names that are up $2-3 or some news and flow that you missed. I promise you that. All right. But we're talking about names. Let me take some questions, and then you know, this intraday covers a lot here. I also want to talk about you know, just the overall market. You may not even be trading individual names, and this stuff what I just mentioned means absolutely, well, not nothing to you, but not as much to you. Let me take some quick questions here for. Can you speak of the momentum that happens towards earnings? Yeah, sometimes. I mean, I don't really focus on that too much. The only thing that does become a problem around earnings season, stocks don't react the same way off earnings positioning, earnings flow, than they would without earnings flow, because there's more hedging involved. But again, I wouldn't get hung up on it. I would definitely get hung up on it in regards to swing trading. But for day trading, if you're limiting your downside properly, I wouldn't be too focused on it. And you want to try to avoid the mentality of not losing, right? Almost like you're going after breaking even. And by accident, you're going to step on a few big winners that are going to paint your P&L. That's basically the mentality I'm trying to get you guys to look at. Because what it ultimately means is you're going to play enough of these things where it becomes a numbers game. And you're going to have more winners than losers. And some of those winners are going to be some of the names we spoke about. Good. So that's good. You know, it's when when you're afraid of losing, where you get gun shy, that's when, you know, then the one you pick, right? Then the one you, all of a sudden now you're picking and choosing too much. So now there's a whole bunch of luck that comes into the equation. And that's where you get that frame of mind where you don't want a loser now because you've been so damn picky. This one you played has to be a winner. And you can't have that mentality. At least I can't. Trading off sweeper activity, intraday. Does the amount of the money, the premium come into play? Not if it's the right type of action. Again, multiple sweeps. You know what I mean? You want to see, like, whether it's a player, an algo, whatever it is, making a play on the name, positioning in the name. That's what you're looking for. You know, obviously, if there's one big sweep that comes in, yeah, it can create momentum. You know what I mean? It can definitely create momentum. But so can, you know, a band of weeklies. So again, there's no exact answer to that question, right? Yeah, the bigger the bet, right? If they come in firing missiles, without a doubt, that's going to create momentum, right? If they come in firing missiles front month, $500,000, $1 million sweeps into whatever name in front month strikes, it's going to get that thing moving. You know, it's going to get that thing moving. And that's fine if you want to just focus on that type of action, but you're going to miss these. You know what I mean? No, weeklies, monthlies don't matter. Because again, the question you're asking yourself, is this going to create excitement and momentum in this name now? So if they're hitting weeklies or monthlies, yeah. Because whatever is sweeping those calls, I mean, they're going short term. They're looking for a move now. Right? So that's right, exactly. Not all names have weeklies. It's another good point. Right? The less liquid names. Bazooka Joe, no, that was with time, Bazooka Joe. That was with time. He came in and basically nailed the bottom. But then the action that followed was shorter term action. You know? And guys, you know, again, one of the reasons why we wanted to include, and many of you are members already, I get that, but wanted to include, you know, a free membership for a few months is so not only do we talk about the stuff to pay attention to, but now you'll be able to do it in real time and, pay attention to the action I'm talking about. A lot of times, a lot of the action, you won't hear a peep out of my mouth. You know what I mean? Like, you'll hear me elaborate on specific action, one way or another, via vocally, or you hear me on the typewriter, right? So, and again, your eyes are the best proof. Your eyes are the best proof. I wish there was I wish there were exact answers. Okay, I wish there were exact answers. You can be really disciplined and selective, okay, but you're going to miss some situations that I know you want to be a part of. All right. So, like, for example, like a Tesla, I'm not playing it. I'm not playing a Tesla because I'm playing the equity, the stock is $1 gazillion, and I got to chase strength. Okay. But when you see the type of flow that's out there, and that's your definition of tattooed, and they're tattooing Tesla off the open like they did this morning, if this is your style, you want to get in the middle of this. You want to get in the middle. Okay? And by 10 o'clock, right? Because that's what it usually goes. They come out, boom, off the open, they tattoo the daylights out of things. And then by 10 o'clock, a lot of times, sweepers go chill. Okay? By 10 o'clock, up, down, sideways, crooked, if you see something you don't like, you pull the plug. But if you're a Tesla player, you want to be in the middle of that when it's getting bombarded like that. When you see boom, 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 when you see me typing sweep after sweep after, you don't even have to guess. There's going to be Momo in the name. Don't even try to figure it out. There's going to be momentum in the name. May not be there an hour from now, but right then and there, as they're sweeping the daylights out of the calls, there's momentum in the name. That Uzi type action. Okay, because again, you got to understand what's going on here, right? Somebody sweeps 800 grand worth of Tesla. That market maker's going to hedge that action. So he's either going to buy the underlying or buy calls. He needs exposure to the name. Then another Tesla sweep comes. They're going to do the same. Now people take notice to the volume in weeklies in Tesla. They're buying Tesla. Another sweep comes in. Market maker's going to hedge. You understand? So there's going to be this. Now, when that action dies down, this thing may drop dead. But for day trading purposes, you don't give a shit. Excuse my French. Don't get caught up on the bets, right? For day trading, sweepers equal momentum. That's it. Right now. See, what happens is a lot of people we see in the steam room, they want the cake and eat it too, right? You know that saying? So they want this and they want it to keep going for the next 2 weeks. Doesn't work that way. Right? If you're day trading, then day trade. You get in the middle of this, make your money, and get the hell out. That's your job as a day trader. And if you see them boom, 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 one sweep after the other, just get in the middle. Just get in the middle of it. On these type of names. You guys play all these names. All right? And that's what I mean by tattooed. Somebody asks, what's tattooed mean? They're tattooing the calls. One after the other. They're hitting the living daylights out of it. We see it. So Facebook, Tesla, you see it in the big names. They're machines. They're not human beings. They're machines. No, as far as the market makers and their reaction, the only reason it creates momentum now is because it's a snowball effect. It's a snowball effect. You almost look at it like, you hear me use gambling terms, right? If somebody comes in and is betting, a sharp professional gambler is betting the New England Patriots at Pick'em over the Jets. Okay? Comes in, somebody bets $500,000 on the Patriots. Okay? What does Vegas do? They take that line from Pick'em, right? Now they make the New England Patriots +2, right? To try to offset the action. Get money on the other side to offset that bet, right? Then more money comes in. What do they do? That line goes from 2 to 3.5, right? And it keeps moving until the action stops and some action comes on the other side. And that's what market makers are doing. They're hedging to offset that action coming in. And then the movement of the stock, right, is going to create some action on the other side. That's Lewis. You might get dizzy. You know what I mean? There might be, but what do you mean the trade alert free? Live from Trade Alert you talking about? That depends on you. That depends on you. I think because I know you a bit, you might be able to handle it, but I wouldn't recommend it for others. I wouldn't recommend it for others. Like and I don't mean this in an arrogant way, okay? But the in the room, okay, if you pay attention, if you can anyway, you got a million things going on, but if you could pay attention to what I'm saying and what I'm writing about it, what I'm writing about it, not just commentary. Sometimes I don't have time to offer commentary because, like Tesla, they're going boom, 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 boom. It's basically the amount of sweeps. When you see a band of sweeper activity come into a name, you got to think momentum right there and then. So you got to be looking at the stock, and if it's at a place you like, you got to get in the middle of it. You understand? If you look, all the best day trading activity in regards to momentum are, names that catch that oozy multiple sweep type action. That's what ultimately creates the momentum. And like you said, sometimes you may pick up on it or realize it a little later and you missed some of the move and you got to pass. Don't beat yourself up over that, because you're over just getting used to it and more comfortable. You're going to get quicker. You're going to become quicker. So don't kill yourself over that. What's today's date? Oh, 23rd. So these, so you're going to see like this, right? This is what I mean by the post. Tesla, weekly 650s. Tesla, June 2700s. Then some are hitting the board as I'm typing. 700 calls. Tesla, weekly 655s. Tesla, 650s. Then, right when I got time to breathe, even while action's still coming in, when something gets hit, as soon as I get a chance, I do something like this. You know what I mean? I would like to get it out quicker, but for me, I think you rather see those individual orders as they come in, because that's what you're really going to get a gauge off of the steam. And you see how they pile up quick. And as that action's coming in, this is what it was creating. Huh? Percentages. IV? This? Yeah, so this is basically just telling you the percentage of the action where it's taking place. You understand? So like this line here, weekly 700 calls, 68% were on the offer. Yeah, in the bigger names, you'll see, you're going to see a lot of mid because the bids in the ask move so fast. But it just tells you how clean it is, because sometimes they're selling in it. But, when I'm posting it off, off action like that, you know what I mean? These are all buys. There's no matter what's going on volume-wise, these are all, and it's primarily weeklies, all right? They're just tattooing them. Tattooing them. Try to think of what the hell else did I play today? Well, anyway, no, I wouldn't. ISO is one of the more, I wouldn't say aggressive sweeps, but machine. ISO, there's a machine behind it. But it doesn't really tell you a whole lot more. I wouldn't stay away from floor. Late opening means the order was a late print. So in simple English for me, that means like, don't trust it as much. Likely it's going to get canceled and replaced. Into market sweep, yep. ISO. Sweepers, very, very, no, it's a late print. So what happens is a lot of times they get canceled and there's an error on the size, the contract size, or what he paid. And then you'll see it get adjusted a lot of times. Cancel rebill, that's what they call it. You see, let's see what Rob's saying. Can you clarify one thing? Are you saying when you see action you like on an intraday basis for a swing? No. No, we're not talking about swings at all. Strictly day trading. Oh, yeah, exactly. So, right, I'm showing you like, guys, I apologize because this time of night, my brain's fried. I can't even remember what the hell I played today because I played several names, RKT, SDC. I can't remember anything else, but I wanted to show you guys a loser so you know what the hell, what it should look like, right? So what I'm saying is, okay, you're going to get used to seeing when you're wrong, right? This is what it looks like when you're wrong, when you're playing the right stuff, right? Momentum just disappears because there's no more buying, there's no more hedging going on, right? There's no more buying coming in. So you don't want to be sitting and hoping that you're right 2 hours later and get bailed out, because those are the bad winners. You don't want that. That gets you doing bad things. Okay? You got to admit to losing in this game. You have to get used to that. Right? So for me, this is what a loser looks like. I came in thinking, just like RKT, they were going to come in and squeeze the daylights out of this thing and sweep it. They didn't. Right? So the stock popped. I didn't take the profit, rolled over, and went dead. Right? I took my whatever it was, I think it was a 9-cent loss, and called it the day. Okay? If you're worrying about Suzu sell it, sweepers coming in and then it going, okay, if that's a fear of yours, if you have a little bit of cushion, then put your stop loss, you know what I mean? The main objective here is not to ride this thing down through the afternoon, hoping that they're going to come in again. That's the main thing. Okay? That's what I mean by taking the scratch losses or scratch gains. You don't want to get in the habit of holding stocks and them rolling over on you because you don't want to take the freaking loss when it's peanuts. That's my point. That's my point. I mean, do you guys have other examples? Give me some names today. You guys have any names today or yesterday that we could look at? And then DM, that was a nice one, right? I actually played it yesterday and held some equity. Right? So like for day trading purposes, this is another one they hit off the open today. They hit it yesterday as well. Okay? So let's say you're buying it off the action right off the open. Okay? Here's your pop. Okay? Now, once this happens here, okay? Once you're over here, you got to make a decision now. Okay? You bought it over here. You cannot let this thing go south and turn into a big loser. You understand? You can't do it. You can't let that happen. All right? You're much better off if you raised your stop and got stopped out here for the day trade. And who cares what it did later in the afternoon? The whole point is you avoided this agita for a day trade. Right? That's day trading. Day trading, guys, day trading is not buying a stock every day at the open and holding it all day. That's it's not how it works. Right? Day trading is trying to take what the market's willing to give you. And our edge is what sweepers are giving us. Sweepers off the open gave us this. That may not be, maybe it's not enough for you for some reason. Too bad. too bad. It's not your choice. Okay? It's not enough for you. That's fine. Do not get lumped up on it. Because then what happens is you touch an NNDM, RKT, another winner, and then you hold one loser that buries you alive. I mean, you're not going to make any headway that way. And that's not day trading. Right? So that's what I'm saying. Okay, this is what it looks like for me, so you know. Right? Entry, my losers look like that, and I pull the plug, or break even plus a few pennies, whatever it may be, scratches. My winners look like this, and I'm taking this, and the ones which I call I get lucky are MOXC or even an RKT today, where this just keeps going and I don't even have a chance to take it. Or I really like the action in this name, I'm going to raise the stop. And I raise the stop. Okay? But my losers, they all look the same. You understand? And you don't have to be tight. You understand? You don't have to be that tight. If your entry's here, okay, and this is an $8 stock, right? If you're looking for, let's say for a winner, it's going to be 30 cents to the upside or whatever it may be. You know, at worst case scenario, that's your downside. Even money. You understand? Even money. So you're looking 30 cents up, 30 cents down. And the ones you get a little lucky on, you're locking in a buck. You see the logic there? Honestly, does it make sense? You understand? So even if these even out, your normal winners and losers, plus 30 cents, minus, again, I'm using an $8 stock, right? So it's different on more expensive names. Minus 30 cents, right? If that's what your winners and losers look like, I'm telling you, or sweeper activity, you're going to have more winners than losers. Okay? So that means you're going to finish in the plus column. But we didn't talk about the gravy. And the gravy is this. That's the gravy. So if you're in the plus column of this, even if it's by a little, the gravy is the gravy. And what I'm telling you is, especially newer traders, they don't like taking this. It bothers them a lot. Exactly. There's no way around it. There's no way around it. You know, in my opinion, without a sweeper edge in names, you're not even going to have this type of hit ratio. You're going to have to get used to losing even more, in my opinion. And you can still be profitable. But without the edge of sweepers providing that momentum, I think you're going to have to even get used to taking more of those losses, in my opinion. A lot of times, that's a good question by Rhythmic. A lot of times off the open, these days especially, is where the most aggressive activity. So a lot of times you see all the action off the open, and like if we're in the summer, we could go dead until 2:30, 3 o'clock. Yeah, because that's a less traded name. So all the order flow that came in, they were buyers. There are no sellers in it. Nobody owns calls to sell it. You understand? Tesla, people are taking profits into that rip. So that's why you see more on the offer in a name like NNDM. Oh, iPad. I could do iPads. I meant mobile. Computers are a different story. iPads I could do. I got quite a few iPads. But I still like the phones better. Easier to handle. What time we got here? 8:48. I kind of want to leave. Let's. What time? 7:30. I kind of want to leave the intraday action. Yeah, for next week. So you know what I mean. I'd like to do it all in one shot. On as far as the indices are concerned, playing the indices. Playing the indices. Because also, what I want to do too, and because I want to go back and kind of review this stuff and put sentiment into the mix, which is, another huge plus. You know what I mean? Did you guys, that anti-VIX today got you out of trouble if you were day trading the indices? Right? So, again, you don't need, yeah, Lucy, that's a great question. That's a great question because for NNDM, it really doesn't matter, so it depends on the market. But for, high beta names that really move around with the market and stuff like that, yeah, sentiment can help out a lot because you get these washes. Look like, for example, late, and it was late, but pretend it wasn't late, okay? There were 2 sell signals today on that anti-VIX. Into this. And off the morning rip. Okay, and what? Again, we're going to get into sentiment a lot more in depth. But what the anti-VIX is it tells us how aggressive the buying and selling in the VIX is. Kind of like the squeezometer, but more signals based off what they're doing in the VIX. All right, and what happens is when they get aggressive selling volatility, the market has a tendency to run them over intraday. Just this. That's all I'm talking about. You know what I mean? I'm not talking about a debacle. So, what Lucy's saying is, do we need to look at that? If we're trading NNDM, it may mean sideways for a little bit, right? It doesn't have as much of an impact. But if you're trading maybe more high beta name or ES, you definitely want to pay attention. And that's why I want to save, if you're trading the indices, ETFs, ES, options on SPY, whatever, you definitely want to pay attention to sentiment. So that's why it's good Lucy even brought that up, that we definitely push that for Monday. Yeah. We'll push it for Monday. Yeah, because this is a weird market now, right? This market, the S&P could be down 20 handles and the Russell could be up. And if the Russell's up, the little guys, the little stocks are on fire for that day. No, I don't play the downside. I don't play the downside. Especially in bull markets. I don't play the downside. Listen, you want me to put it away? I'll put it away. You're going to feel like an idiot if you play the downside. Why would I play the downside in a rigged market? Why That doesn't make any sense to me, you know? Now, if you want to scalp intraday, you know, maybe off overheated sentiment signals, you know, good luck. Good luck. You know, but the downside is hard enough, let alone in the rig market, man. You know, and for anybody who's new here and trying to find consistency, I'm being honest with you. I'm not talking to more experienced players out there, okay? I'm talking, you got in the game, you know, you can't make some headway, you're spinning your wheels, give up the short side, okay? Give up the short side. That would be my best and first piece of advice. Throw it out the window. Okay? We go into a bear market. Talk to me then. You know? Talk to me then. Yeah, and it's like playing with the trend. You know what I mean? But the market goes up more than it goes down. Fact. That's how the game works. And in a rig game, right? I told you guys the story. I had a buddy of mine who I work with, biggest degenerate on the face of the earth. He would go home after action of stocks and everything all day long, and he'd go online and play blackjack. And he called me up that night. He'd be like, yeah, I just lost 50 grand playing online blackjack. I go, what the are you serious? Like, I'm like, all right, just stay away from that. All right, just stay away. That's it. Take your lump, move on. Make a long story short, he went back on. He played it another 7, 8, 9 more times. Okay, it got to the point where I brought the bookmaker. Okay, because back then gambling wasn't legal. I brought the bookie to put right in front of him, and the bookie who's making the money off him said, "Listen, don't play online blackjack. It's rigged." Okay? He told them that. And guess what he did? He went back and played online blackjack. The bookie told him it's rigged, and he still went on and lost his money playing online blackjack. Right? I mean, you're really effed up in the head. So for me, you know, if you're not finding success in this market and you continuously go back to try to short it, that's kind of what I think of you. I'm not gonna lie. You know, if you're finding success, that's fine. But for me, and I'm being honest with you, I'm in this game a long time. Okay, I don't know anybody who's found consistency that I was trading around right in front of me playing the short side. They've had profitable trades, but net loser off the short side. Okay? And if they took out their short trades and just had long trades, they would have destroyed it. So, I mean, you know, how much do I need to see? That's why it's like I've been brainwashed, you know? The two things coming into this game that I knew I couldn't do, and it would increase the odds I would hang around, were play on margin and short. Lucci loves to short, but talk to Lucci about shorting. You'll probably never short in your life. Talk to him about the difficulties of shorting. Go ahead. He won't shy away. He'll tell you. He's not going to lie to you. Yeah, but he knows, right? He can't short in this market right now. He'd get destroyed. I think he was shorting crypto, wasn't he? Last I spoke to him. Yeah. So that's, you know, he's not stupid. Jesus Christ. Well, did that thing go to zero yet, that Doge? Something went to zero, didn't it? One of those Safe Moon? That's what's his name, isn't it? Yeah. Oh my God, he buried everybody, huh? Oh my God. And they probably still love him to death. Jesus. Crazy. He got banned too? We're all banned. Meanwhile, Twitter doesn't want to put me back on. You believe this? What a rat bastard that guy is. Sends me an email that he's going to lift the suspension, and we haven't heard from him. Yeah. Yeah, I don't need it. I don't talk to anybody on there anymore. All right, boys and girls, go get some rest. All right? Tomorrow, again, if you need proof of the sweeper activity and momentum, pull up a 1-minute chart. Don't even put your money at risk and just watch. Right? The band's a sweep and multiple sweeps in the name. Pull up a 1-minute chart and you'll see how they react, and you'll get a better feel of where maybe you want to put stop losses, what you want to look for, right? Your eyes are the best evidence, proof. All right, we'll get into some good stuff next week. All right, but we'll try to make some money the remainder of this week. Growth stocks, hot. Have a good night, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow.